Tanny Cooks here, and today I'm going to show you how to make some delicious soul food greens. We're going to go from this raw turnip greens, mustard greens, collard greens, to some deliciously cooked soul food greens that you definitely want on your dinner table. So let's get to cooking. I also have a video to show you how to make some delicious brown sugar black eyed peas that go perfect with your soul food greens. So be sure to check that video out after this one. Look at the vibrant colors of these collard green leaves. So beautiful. I love the brightness of the mustard greens, and the turnip greens are something that I'm new to cooking, and I can't believe I just discovered how delicious they are. You don't have to like all of them. You could just pick one and use this method to clean and cook them, but we're going to cook several bunches of turnip greens. You'll notice that the leaves are very bright, and some of them are flat like the turnip greens. These mustard green leaves are curly, and there are different varieties of all of these greens. So I am actually growing some red mustard greens in my garden as we speak. These are some beautiful collard greens. The leaves are very big. You'll notice the stalks are much bigger for collard greens than they are on our mustard greens and our turnip greens. Mustard greens, though, to me have a stronger, more pungent mustardy peppery flavor. Since I'm cooking many bundles of greens, I didn't want to have to do them all in one day, so I actually prepped my turnip greens and mustard greens the night before. I de-stemmed them and washed them, and you'll notice I put a wet paper towel on top of the bowl and let that rest in my refrigerator, and the greens came out perfectly beautiful today. These are the collard greens that I will be cleaning and prepping for you. Now I'm going to take a clean kitchen towel and place it under my plastic cutting board. If you watch any of my other videos, you know how much I love these little plastic cutting boards. I have 3 big bundles, or 4 bundles of collard greens. And I'm going to take the rubber bands off. And the process is very simple. I'm going to start this time with using my knife to cut several inches of the bottom stems off. The collard green stems are very thick and fibrous, so most people don't like to chew on them when they eat their greens. And I'm just going to start with pulling my leaves off of the thick stem. Now, I don't mind a little bit of the smaller stems being included, but it's up to your personal preference. You can make it however your family enjoys it. So I like to take 2 or more leaves and stack them on top of each other and pull them off of the stem that way to help this process go a little bit faster. I really love collard greens. Look at how beautiful these leaves are. There are so many different ways you can make them besides this soul food stewing them down for several hours. Actually, you can make these soul food greens in your Instant Pot in under 20 minutes, and I have a video for that as well. So once you have all of your leaves pulled off, you can do one of 2 things. You can chop your dirty greens first and then wash them, or you can wash your whole leaves, dry them off, and then chop them. So it's really up to you, your personal preference. Some people use a knife, some people might use some kitchen shears, or even rip it apart with their hands. So once you have your greens off the stem, you definitely want to give them a wash. Actually, first we're going to give them a soak. So I always use white vinegar, and I fill a bowl with water. Same process for my mustard greens as I'm doing for these collard greens. And you let it soak in the water for a good 10-15 minutes. And you want to move your hand around in the water to agitate it to get all the sand to shake to the bottom of your bowl. Once you do that, after 10 or 15 minutes, lift your greens out of the water into a separate bowl. And when you do this, look at how dark this water is with the dirt or sand. This is natural because these greens grow in the ground, right? But look at that sand at the bottom of this bowl. If you didn't clean your greens, you would be chewing on that, and you definitely don't want that. So we're going to repeat this process about 3 or 4 times until the water runs clear and there's no more sand in our bowl. So I usually do it about 3 times and it's completely clean, but I do it an extra 4th time to be very sure. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite item you use to clean your greens? Instead of vinegar, some people may use salt, or do you buy a veggie wash? Once your greens are cleaned and drained, you want to turn your attention to your broth. I have a video showing you how I make broth with soul food seasoning meats, and these are the dried seasonings that I add. This is a ham hock, these are smoked turkey necks, and these are smoked turkey wings. So we add poultry seasoning, garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, and I have a whole video for this, so be sure just to watch my whole soul food playlist, okay? So you want to season your greens so that they taste flavorful. You can absolutely make these greens without meat. I show you a couple of other options for seasoning. One being this poultry seasoning, which is vegan. It's made out of different herbs and spices, including thyme, sage, marjoram, rosemary, black pepper, and nutmeg, and it is extremely delicious. So now we're just going to put our clean greens into our cooking liquid. These are their mustard greens, so bright and beautiful. It's gonna look like we're overfilling this pot, but these will cook down into almost nothing, very similar to the texture of cooked spinach. And it has a very delicious flavor. Some people, out of all three of these greens, do not like mustard greens the most, but I actually like all three of them. And you can definitely mix the three. So these are our turnip greens in here with a smoked turkey neck. And so you can see that I have all of the pots going, and I add different seasoning meats. So in my mustard greens, look at how much they cook down with that piece of fat back. That's that same pot, y'all, in just a few minutes. These are the collard greens. You can see the meat is coming off the bone. I leave the bones in there to stew. These cooked for about 2 hours. The collard greens take a little bit longer than the other greens to me because the texture of them is much thicker. But again, you can make all of these greens in your Instant Pot in a fraction of the minutes. And look at our turnip greens cooked down as well with the smoked turkey necks. They're all equally delicious, but if you have your preference, then definitely cook what you like. Now, if you don't want to use seasoning meats, another vegan option would be to use liquid smoke. I definitely like the smoky flavor. And you can add olive oil. If you don't have olive oil, then you can add butter in place, or vegan butter in place of regular butter or fat back, to add a higher fat content. It adds a delicious texture and flavor in soul food in general, but definitely in your soul food greens. So now, after your greens cook, you may find that you need to flavor them more with some of the same dry seasonings you use to flavor your broth. So don't be afraid to taste and re-season. And these are the beautiful greens, y'all. I love the pot liquor that's in them. So you'll notice in the second bowl, it has my turnip greens and mustard greens mix. I have extra liquid in there. I like to soup that up with a piece of cornbread and go on about my business. Thank you so much for watching this video and watching all of my videos. Please consider subscribing to my channel and leave a comment on any video and let me know something else that you would love to see me cook. Thank you for watching.